What's up guys, welcome back and hello if you are new. So today I'm going to be talking about a band that is honestly, I think, one of the most emotional artists out there. They are the kings of post-hardcore as far as I'm concerned. And honestly, I remember coming across this band on the album Stage 4, which was grief, you know, literally incarnate, I think, in a record. And then after that, the band released Lament, which was kind of, you know, dealing with the aftermath of that grief. And now on the 6th studio album, they are going to be releasing Spiral in a Straight Line, which is a kind of an idea of self-reflection, looking inwards and very sort of introspective. So yeah, join me as I'm going to be talking about that record today. So, if you're not familiar with TOUCHÉ AMORÉ, they are, I think, one of post-hardcore's best bands out there. You know, the band is kind of like a Wes Anderson ensemble cast, which is led by Jeremy Bolm, who I think has some of the most honest and sort of intimate, but also weirdly relatable lyrics, and his delivery is incredible. Then we've got kind of these insidiously sad guitar lines that come from Nick Steinhardt and Clayton Stevens. And then on drums, we've got that sort of like level of energy, which is just so kind of unmatched by Elliot Babin. And then after that, we have got Tyler Kirby, who kind of anchors things with bass. So when it comes to themes on this record, I think it's very much kind of a looking inward and sort of looking at yourself and accepting the strengths and also the weaknesses that we have as people. In kind of a more direct sense, this sort of comes in the form of Hal Ashby, which is one of the tracks, which is kind of, it's based off of misunderstood characters from a famous director. And then we've got the likes of Mezzanine, which tackles kind of like the monotony of life. This is where Jeremy's lyrics just absolutely show their genius and show how sort of scarily relatable they are. But also being so personal and individual to obviously the experiences that he's kind of gone through. Like, particularly when he's saying, say goodbye for now, you know, this could be, is it saying goodbye to a partner? Is it saying goodbye to someone who's passed away? Is it saying goodbye to your past self and, you know, what you sort of deem as where you're going in the future? Or is it even maybe saying goodbye to depression for a while before it kind of rears its head again, as we know it does, you know? The straight line metaphor with the spiral is kind of a really beautiful but simple idea of looking at the craziness of trying to keep that straight line whilst everything else is spiraling out of control and keeping that composure. Normally a place that's known for its sun, I think, you know, the environment of this record definitely kind of informed how it sort of sounds. And it was the second rainiest season, I think, in LA when they were recording this. And I think that really sort of comes across. There is that sort of dreariness and sadness to it. But I think also it's really well sort of put together in terms of how the instruments are sort of like conveying that sense of confusion. You know, Mezzanine, I think, has almost kind of like a psychedelic type sort of feel to it. And then you've got a track which is Altitude, which sort of teeters from side to side and almost makes you feel like you've got vertigo. And then you've even got the Force of Habit, which sounds like you're kind of navigating your way out of this fog of uncertainty, of, you know, not really being too sure. And that's just from the instruments. Especially where production is concerned, the band's most dynamically produced record to date. I felt like there were so many individual songs that really sort of stood on their own here. You know, there's a lot more sort of variety, I think, than there has been in TOUCHÉ AMORÉ before. I think there was a bit more of a clarity here. You know, The bass drum hits really sort of like, it hits hard but soft, if that makes sense. It, you know, it's always very present. And then, you know, the bass sort of lines, I think the way that they were recorded, it can be quite sort of punky and jagged and things like that. But it can also be quite sort of soothing, and act as a bit of a sort of backbone behind the tracks. But then, you know, you've got elements of acoustic guitar, for example, on Goodbye for Now. And there's also some sort of like melodies that are hidden beneath the surface on Nobodies, which kind of completely, I didn't hear them, but it's that sort of like slight synthesizer kind of feel. And that's one of the great things about Ross's production style, is that you can hear loads of other things happening as you listen to them over and over again. And, you know, this record's only about 32 minutes long or something. So to kind of have that layering, it really makes you want to kind of come back to it a little bit more. And again, I think, you know, another sort of trademark of Ross Robinson's production is on Goodbye for Now, which is the track with Julian Baker. And the way that he sort of positions Jeremy and Julian's vocals, she kind of comes in and then sort of gets brought, like faded out a little bit. And then Jeremy kind of takes the center stage. But then she sort of pops up in these little sort of pockets. But I think, you know, what has always been a huge driver for me personally with Touché Amoré is Jeremy Boehm's delivery. Like, it's just unbelievable. Like on Hal Ashby, well, no, he says, "I'll try anything if it'll course correct me." And you really hear that desperation, that sort of pain, that sadness. And I think another thing that the band sort of experimented on a little bit more with this record is the idea of repetition. You know, the repetition of lyrics, Goodbye for Now, or Nobodies, for example. And what I like about his lyrics is they are quite matter-of-fact, you know. They're matter-of-fact, but also charged with emotion at the same time. This routine, I think, is a great one, you know, kind of describing these ideas of, like, passing ships in the night, you know, like, you're waking up, but I'm, like, a day behind, and things like that. And it made me think of, you know, some maybe past relationships where it was kind of like, well, that person is, like, way sort of ahead, and we're actually sort of lagging behind a little bit, which is really, really interesting. And I think that he really finds the beauty in the imperfections, and really sort of brings that out in both the music and also, you know, the cracks that we show as people, and just makes it feel a little bit less crazy and a little bit less, I don't know, makes you feel a little bit less alone, I think. You're on your way to a new day. Well, I'm far behind. Morning dread and a second coffee. Whereas Lament was interesting, there weren't maybe as many peaks and troughs as they are on Spiral in a Straight Line. And I think that, you know, the aggression is really pronounced here. Disasters and Finalist really sort of takes things to that next level. And then you've got Mezzanine and Goodbye for Now that have blast beats in them. You know, it really kind of compresses that energy and then sort of expels it, which I think is really, really interesting. And again, another sort of draw for me with Touché. But then they've got that sort of High Noon feeling, you know, sort of Nick Cave-y style on Altitude, which I know we had with, like, Skyscrapers. Like the worst case, that is fictional. As the better leads on another day, repeats I had to settle up to remind myself that I backed up parts of one. So the bottom line is that, you know, Spiral in a Straight Line is a direct dialogue that Touché are having with the listener. And, you know, I think it's a record that is very bleak, but also offers glimmers of hope, especially when you get to the final bit of the record. It feels like you've kind of come out of that chrysalis of pain and uncertainty and confusion and things like that. And things are seeming a little bit clearer. And as much as I absolutely adore Stage 4, this is very much kind of close second. And in terms of where I would rate it, it would probably lean towards a 9. Yeah, really, really great record. If you're sort of into this, you know, if you're into Touché, you'll absolutely love it for sure. So that's my review for Touché Amore Spiral in a Straight Line. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments underneath me. And please do hit that like and subscribe button. I have to say it because I am a YouTuber. Other than that, I will see you guys very, very soon for some more interviews and album reviews and all that good stuff. Take care, my friends.